now that we've had this collection of documents from Guantanamo disclosed, what does this mean about the future of the prison?
It's interesting that these documents come to light now, because it appears that this is a sort of important moment in the history of this prison, almost 10 years old now. There are now 172 people left out of about 779 who've passed through there, but it looks increasingly like these 172, or almost all of them, are likely to be there for the foreseeable future, and that Guantanamo will be at least an enduring part of the American sort of policy landscape.
What are the political reasons for that?
Well, Republicans and some Democrats in Congress have been adamantly opposed to bringing detainees from the prison to the U.S. mainland for trials or even for long-term detention. There's been this sort of notion that somehow these folks, even if in prison, would pose some kind of threat to Americans. So Congress has essentially tied the hands of the administration, made it very difficult for it to move people out of there.
Those remaining, are they the hardest of the hardcore? Are there a few that there's still some expectation could leave?
It's a real mixed bag, these 172. They range on the one hand from people like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the infamous chief plotter of the 9/11 attacks, to a significant number, several dozen people from Yemen who have been cleared for release. They've been basically declared not a danger, but there's reluctance to send them home to Yemen because of chaos there, because there's an active al-Qaeda branch there, and other countries have not exactly been clamoring to accept them either.
President Obama famously pledged just weeks into office that he would close the prison in Cuba.
It shows how, on the one hand, Congress and the courts have made it difficult to close. On the other hand, his own review, he ordered a review of all these detainees, a new review of who they were and what danger they might pose, and his own review ended up finding 47 people who they did not believe they had evidence to try, but they feared would be too dangerous to release. So he sort of accepted the principle that some of these people might be incarcerated basically forever.
And the uproar over trying one of the 9/11 plotters must have reinforced the public discomfort with the notion of releasing some of these people even for trial in the United States.
This became a kind of political football, and the notion of the 9/11 plotters coming back to New York for a trial became a symbol, and even Democrats sort of ran the other way. So it turns out that this prison down in Cuba is a little bit out of sight, out of mind, far away, and from a political standpoint, it has a certain appeal to Americans.
So what began as an ad hoc experiment in detention may be with us for quite some time.
It's hard to imagine this prison closing any time in the next several years.